Hello everyone and welcome to day 42 of my 90-day personal challenge to create positive videos. Today is day 7 of our relationship series and I'm super excited about the topic. Now I know I say I'm super excited about all my topics, but this one's fun. It's a dangerous one that people don't like to tap into, but I want to. It's expectations. What are your expectations? And are they a good thing or a bad thing in relationships? Well, I'm going to start off by saying in this platform, there's no good or bad. We don't judge why people do different things that they do. What I attempt to do in all of my videos is help us to understand the why behind what we do. That means to understand the human behavior behind the actions that you take in relationships. Expectations is a big one. Expectations is something that I think is commonly expected in the dating and relationship world. Like, for example, I expect you not to cheat on me. I expect you to remember my birthdays, special occasions, and to behave a certain way on those days. I expect you to take the garbage out on Tuesdays. These are examples of expectations that we have in relationships. Was that a bad thing? It seems like it isn't a bad thing, but I want to show later on in the video how we can shift the expectation word into something that serves not only ourselves but the relationship as a whole and can actually create powerful and positive dynamics as we shift our perspective on it. Why is having expectations not the best thing for a relationship? Because when we expect certain people to behave other than who they are, we are now basing a relationship on performance instead of acceptance. When we put out an expectation that a person should be a certain way and they're not, then we end up losing respect either for the person or for the relationship. It builds an insecurity or it starts to drain from the relationship as we start to judge it through our expectations. You cannot have expectations in a relationship without having the consequence of judgment. And when we place the judgment on a relationship, instead of allowing things to grow organically or allowing the experiences of the moments with this other person to bring up new meaning, new ideas, new opportunities to understand one another and to help support one another with expectations, we judge one another and then we start losing respect for the other person. Now, I know that was a little bit deep and I don't know how far I can explain this, but I'm going to show the other side of it. When we remove expectations from a relationship and a person and instead take the time to just be curious about the other person, to get to know who it is I'm in relation with, and to just see how they behave and see how they interact with me, I take back my power to be free in the relationship. And I give also that power to the other person to be free as well. As we create a space in relationship to be our most authentic selves, we can then observe it with curiosity and openness and see where that relationship can grow. However, when we have expectations of the other person, we close off the openness and the freedom that we have to be ourselves and then to see where that next experience or situation leads us to. What does this look like when we release expectations and instead exchange them for acceptance? Well, if I was a person that had the expectation that you're not going to cheat on me, I'm going to verbally say this to you. And if you're struggling within yourself with desire for another person or desire for a different type of romantic relationship, you're not going to feel safe to talk to me about your internal romantic struggles. If you don't feel safe to talk with me, you're going to then hide that honest side of yourself and that authentic side of yourself in order to keep the relationship the way it's been set, instead of allowing the conversations and the communication to give me something different. If I feel safe to share with you my struggles and desires for emotional connection outside of the relationship I'm in, that could actually bring the relationship to a whole nother level, as I feel a connection with you and a safety with you to share who I am in the space of honesty and authenticity. Relationships are here to serve us. They're here to build us up, and we're here to support one another. But if we have expectations that are built around our fears, because we need the relationship to go a certain way in order for us to feel safe or connected, then we give up our power and excitement to see where the relationship can go. Now, why do we place expectations in a relationship in the first place? Well, most of the time it's to protect ourselves. It's to protect ourselves from the fears that we have of what might happen. If a person cheats on us, we may feel abandoned and rejected, and that would feel horrible. If you forget me on the holidays, that's going to make me feel like I'm not loved, and so it's going to make me feel separate from you. If you don't take the garbage out on Tuesdays, I'm not going to feel respected. You see, expectations are built up so that we'll feel a certain way. But what would it look like if you just opened up the dynamic to acceptance and curiosity? What would it look like if you just opened up the experience to get to know the other person and then decide from there if this is what you want or not? Do you see where you take back your power? When you accept a person just as they are, it doesn't mean you have to like what they're doing or how they're behaving. But what it does mean is that when they are behaving a certain way, you can talk about how that makes you feel. You can open up the platform for great communication where you can say, hey, when you flirt with other people or you don't give me the attention that I am desiring, I feel neglected. I don't feel special. But I want you to know that I'm owning my feelings, and I'm just telling you what I like. I like attention. I feel respected when you give me all the attention and you're not giving it to all these other women. Now, when you communicate what it is that you're looking for in a relationship and how things make you feel, you then give the other person the freedom to decide if that's something they want to give you or not. If a person just is getting to know you and they realize, hey, this girl likes attention and affection and connection, you can decide from that space if she has freely communicated it to you, what she's just desiring, without putting the pressure on you to give that to her or not. You can decide on that at that point if you want to give it to her. Now, when you personally choose for yourself to give something to another person, that's an act of love. When you're giving it to another person because they expect this certain kind of behavior, there's a lot of pressure there, and a lot of times we don't want to do that. Well, how often does this happen in relationships? We have expectations of people, and then we forget to see the other person. We lose sight of the person we're getting to relate to right in front of us, and instead build up a relationship based on expectations and things outside of the authenticity of you and I. Now, I know a lot of people don't go into the space of acceptance and authenticity because it's dangerous. Why is it dangerous? Because it's the unknown. We don't even know who we're meeting here. We don't even know what kinds of things that they like or how they behave. And when we place those expectations on people, we tell them how we want them to behave and expect them to behave. Well, do you see the cage that's right around there? No wonder so many people are afraid of commitment, because in the space of expectation, it feels like a cage. But wouldn't it be great if you could be in a relationship where you could just openly be yourself and you could openly communicate your desires from the relationship and the other person, and then allow them to choose if they want to give it to you or not? Now, what happens from there, who knows? You could end up building a bond that's super powerful and strong because you feel heard in the relationship. You feel connected in the relationship, and you feel the support of the other person. In the other space, we don't feel heard. And that with the expectations, it makes sense that we would feel like we're in a cage. And when you're in a cage, what's the first thing you want to do? Escape, right? You want to get away from the energy that's draining you from being the most authentic you. And wouldn't it be great to be in a space filled with positivity and authenticity, and in a relationship where you can go on the wild adventure of discovering the person right in front of you when you release yourself from expectations? Is that something that you want to do? Is that something you feel like you would have the courage to do? I want to say again, there's no wrong way to do it. If you feel like you need expectations in a relationship to feel safe, then go ahead, be that way. Find the person that has those same expectations, and you two will feed each other at the level that feels comfortable for you. However, I do want to say, if you're feeling trapped in your relationships, or you're feeling less passionate, or you're feeling less connected, this might be the place to set yourself free and take your relationship to a whole nother level as you take a look at what expectations you have on the relationship and setting yourself free from the bondage of what that might be creating. Anyhow, I'd love to hear your thoughts and comments on expectations. If you feel like sharing them with me, do that below in the comment section. And if you find something valuable in this video, please subscribe to me on YouTube and share it with your friends. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Anyhow, I hope you have an amazing day, and I hope you see something beautiful and that the most beautiful thing you see today is you. I'll see you on the next video.